Hello, welcome back to Bid It, Bill It. Are you looking to make a few extra bucks and maybe in between jobs, or you're starting a new career? As I've said in the past videos, painting is a great way to get that going. I'm going to show you what I believe are some of the essentials to get set up, and it's not going to cost you as much as you think. So here we go. So one of my first things, I've made myself a list here, would be a paint bucket. You can go as little as a 5-gallon bucket or the 3.5-gallon buckets. You can get these for free at most places. If not, they're like $3-4 at Home Depot and Lowe's. With that, I always recommend, now this is a very full one, but these metal grates. And I'll put up a cost list here in a little bit, show you what these all cost. But these metal grates, you literally just hook them to the side of the button or the bucket and you're off and running. Okay? That is a very inexpensive way to look at it. You can also go to the tray versions of these as well. These are super inexpensive. Pardon the noise. These little trays, very inexpensive, as little as $2-3 on Amazon. These are more like probably $5-10. The ones I have, a little more sturdy. Same thing, I'd put the tray in there if I were you. That helps you get your roller clean as quick as possible. Okay, my favorite bucket is a bucket by a company called Wooster. It's this bucket here. It's a I believe it's this 4-gallon bucket. It comes with a lid, which is very nice. If you're painting and you don't have to put the paint back in the bucket overnight, you can put a lid on it. It's nice and neat. Also, same thing. I always suggest the metal grate trays. Help you get from point A to point B quicker. So that's my favorite one. But these are about like $30-40 depending on where they are and where they're from. Okay, next on my list, buckets great. Roller covers. Right now, you can buy a more expensive one, but right now, Home Depot have a couple of things that I really like right now. So I have a 1/2 inch and a 3/4 inch. These are the purple versions. Okay, these do not shed. So you need to check that on any roller you have. You want to make sure it doesn't shed, right? So like right there, I could pull some off. You want to check that before you go. These are nice rollers. I many times use them multiple times before I throw them away. These are like $4, $5, $6 a piece, okay? So I have a 1/2 inch and a 3/4 inch, and those are typically for a wall that has a heavier texture to it, okay? And I'll go into some details on the texture pieces of it in another video. Brushes. A lot of people say a lot of things about brushes. People are very passionate about it. My favorites are the Purdy XL Cubs. So if you can zoom in on that one, and this is what they look like. They actually are angled. Now this is a very old brush that I've kept around for a long time. I like the way they feel in my hand. These can be anywhere on sale from like $12 and they can be as much as $20. My favorite. This is actually a 2-inch brush. Now if you're painting something much larger, you might need a bigger brush. Okay. All right, brushes. Roller frames. You can buy super cheap to super crazy expensive. I used all in between. I tend to like, this is a wooden handle, it just has paint all over it. I tend to like these a little bit better. They're kind of the middle of the road, but I personally have not found any frame to be better than the other one other than cost. And I throw these away fairly frequently. So when they get gummed up on the roller itself and I can't clean it out anymore, I just toss these. Okay. Now, this is an added one. You don't have to have a bucket as long as you've got a 1-gallon that you're using from the paint store. You could pour that in your bucket and use the 1-gallon as your cut-in bucket. But I like these because they fit in your hand really well. And another one of my favorite little features in there is this has a magnet. So if you need to stop, you can stick your brush in there and it stays. It doesn't get all gummed up. So those little buckets, I think these are Handy Paint Company. I think there's like $5-10 depending on where you buy them from. Okay. This is another little added, if you're doing anything beside like bathrooms, you get into a bathroom. Now this roller doesn't fit this one. They have smaller ones, but these small trays are good for that. And these long handled rollers are really, really good for bathrooms, going behind like toilets and vanities. You can get this in there where you can't get a regular roller or a brush. Nice little addition. Not necessarily critical for your average bedroom stuff. Okay. Masker, in my opinion, if you're doing anything, I don't have my masker in front of me. Oh yes, it is. Sorry. The masker. These things have really gone up in price. I found one this morning on Amazon. It was like $20. But I like the 3M brand, and this one's really old. This is the M1000. Now I think they have the M2000. These are like $50, $60, $75. They have them in 6-inch versions, which is what this size paper is, and they have a 12-inch extension on them. Super simple. Put your roll of tape on, add it to your paper. Boom. Now you can start masking on baseboards, windows, walls, basins, all that kind of stuff. To me, this is essential. You can try it the manual way, but it is really crazy slow when you do it that way. All right. Paper and tape. You can see the paper rolls right here. I just use the brown paper. I don't use super expensive unless I was doing something like crazy, expensive. Those are like $3. And then there's a million brands of tape right now. I tend to like, I believe this is a 3M as well. It's just standard painter's tape. I use what used to be called the old 3/4 inch. It's actually almost an inch wide now. 3/4 inch to an inch. You can get these in 2-inch, 2.5 inch, all kinds. Great for just general masking off. If it's not something you're cutting in and worried about getting wall paint on something else. Now, if you get into a scenario where there is going to be paint dripping behind your tape, you want to step up to something like frog tape. Frog tape is really expensive. I think this is like $10 plus a roll, and it comes in a green, which is kind of the standard, a yellow, which is for sensitive, and then there's orange, which is for really harsh surfaces, but it sticks really hard. Read the label, know what you're putting it on. Be careful with very strong tapes when you're around something that you don't want the other paint to peel off. You don't know what's on it. Paper, if you're masking up like wallpaper, this can take that right back off, so be careful with those. Roller handles, in my opinion, are essential. I mean, I'm a tall guy, I'm 6'3", but I still use a roller handle because I stay away from the wall a little bit, and it just helps me roll nice and easy. You screw these on. They have a snap-in kind, but you have to buy special roller frames with them, but this goes all the way out, so this puts me almost 12 feet up by the time my long monkey arms get up there. These range anywhere from like $10 to $50, $60, depending on what brand. This one, I don't remember where I bought this, but Purdy makes a really nice, this is considered a 4-foot. Purdy makes a really nice one right now, and I think it's like 30 something bucks right now. That's my handle. I think those are essential. You may be able to get away with just your arm, but I don't like that. Drops and plastic. You can get away with a lot of things. I'll tell you 2 things. You can use basic bed sheets. By the way, you can go to Salvation Army, Goodwill, or a thrift store and find bed sheets for almost nothing. I bought these at Walmart. I think these are like $6 a piece. The only caution I have with just basic drops is if you drop paint on this, it will soak through and get on whatever's below it. So you got to be super careful with these. I prefer what's called the Ducky. These are Ducky drops. This is, I think it's 3 foot by 15 or 4 foot by 15 foot. It's got a regular drop on one side, and the other side has, I'm going to call it a rubberized material. If you drop something on it, it does not soak through. These are kind of expensive. These can be $30, $40 depending on what size you get. But I think, in my opinion, kind of essential. You can get away with others. I just think I would prefer the insurance of it not soaking through versus trying to take my chances on some, especially carpet. Plastic, you can buy plastic anywhere. You can get really thin. What's called plastic is judged by what's called MIL. So the thickness, you can get it from 3 to whatever. It goes all the way up to very thick. So you can get cheap plastic all the way up to very expensive. Ladders. Let me show you a ladder that I have had for literally decades. Thing's probably 30 plus years old. I don't know if ladders are critical for you to get started in your business, but eventually you're going to have one. especially if you are cutting in like me. I'm tall. I can get to most 8-foot ceilings, not a problem. But a ladder is pretty essential. But these things start at like $80 right now. If I'm you and I'm starting a business, I check Facebook Marketplace, maybe Craigslist. I go to the local, again, thrift shop, check some garage sales, something like this, see if you can find a less expensive. Down below, I have a platform version, which these are some of my favorites. Doesn't always work like a ladder, but these are super great for just quick jumping off and on. Okay, it's, what is this, like 2.5 feet tall. These are really nice. Again, they range from 30 to all the way up to 60, $75. Okay, my favorite tool of all, period, putty knife. You can get away with a plastic putty knife, no problem whatsoever. I carry a putty knife everywhere I go when I'm on a job or in my garage working on something around my house. My favorite putty knives of all time, Goldblatt. These things, this is a 5-in-1, so it literally has putty knife, roller scraper, so when you're cleaning your roller covers, bottle opener, and a little cutting edge tool on the side. I basically only use the cutting edge and then that right there. And then if I have a beer at the end of the day, I do use the bottle opener. This is by far the toughest set of putty knives I've ever run across. I'll use these till they're almost a nub. Great stuff and not expensive, like $10. Okay. Tile stores, some of the tile stores, Floor and Decor carries these for like $10. But you can get away with just little plastic ones when you want to spackle. By the way, spackle is super critical too. If you're just creating walls, not that big a deal. Or if you're just painting walls, you don't necessarily need a caulking gun, but eventually if you're going to do more and more like repair and remodel stuff, you're going to need a caulk gun, and you get these as little as $3. Or if you want to go to the Japanese versions that are super crazy great, those things can be $50, $60, and I have both. So these are nice just to throw around. This is a plastic one, just in and out, no big deal. Great one. Okay. You're always going to need rags, and I will suggest, I would not buy rags from the store. I was looking at Home Depot yesterday, and rags in a bag are like $50 or something like that. Seems super expensive to me. Just go to the thrift store, find some both colored and white, either towels or t-shirts, and cut them up. There's your rags, no big deal. Also on paint sticks, the paint store will give you a few, or they will charge you for more. If you have the ability to have a saw, I take scrap wood and cut up my own. This happens to be a longer, skinnier version of it, but I make my own paint sticks. And then when I'm finished with them, I don't feel bad about throwing them out at all. Okay. All right. I will wrap up with a cost spreadsheet above, but essentially you can get away with, on the basic stuff, I added them up based on what I saw both on Amazon and with going to Home Depot. So if you went to the basic route, you'd have roughly $180 in supplies. If you went the upgraded route, like the really nicer buckets, the roller handles, the hand maskers, a ladder, stuff like that, work platforms like this, you're going to be almost $660. So for under $1,000, if you even went the really serious route there, upgraded route, for under $700, you can get your painting business working. And in the next video, I'm going to show you how you can make an extra $1,000 a month just painting walls in homes. Have a great day. Check out Bid It Bill It in the Apple App Store today. It's free. You have nothing to lose.